One of the questions I love to ask folks on this segment is a question about why somebody might want to invest in you and in your product. So I like to say, let's pretend we're on Shark Tank and you're trying to convince Mark Cuban or one of the other sharks to actually invest in InSuite Educate. What's sort of the elevator pitch that you would give an investor as to why what you all are doing at Inroads is particularly unique, as opposed to what other companies, what other players in the space might be doing with respect to predictive analytics?
Sure, absolutely. So first of all, thanks, Mark, for having me on, right? So I would say that one, we have a passion for higher ed, right? So I think that that really is probably part of the driving force behind what we're doing. We were incubated out of higher ed, so we have a strong background in the needs and the requirements of many of the institutions in the United States. Obviously, there's anomalies, right, with everything you do, but
Sure.
when it comes to Inroads Analytics, one of the things that we set out to do was we wanted to empower the enrollment professionals, so the counselors and directors, with good actionable data. And then not only empower them with that good actionable data, but also make it on a nightly basis. So when it comes to our competitors, a lot of times they will get a report, and that report maybe once a month, maybe once a quarter, and it will be here's a prospect and the likelihood of them being a student at your institution. Well, there's a lot of space in between point A and point B. Let's just make this actionable steps for the counselors, because as academic sales professionals, they want to have wins along the way, right? So in higher ed, one of the things that a counselor, they don't get incentivized by any type of commission or in extra compensation. So you got to give them wins along the way. And so what we do is we provide that actionable probability score right in front of them so that they can make wins for themselves as they move students through the pipeline and build relationships with these students. And so when it comes to what we do, and we do it well, we actually are creating wins for not only the institution, but for the counselors. And we're doing it on a daily basis for them so that they can be empowered to do their job well.
And an example of one of these wins, correct me if I'm wrong, but could be something like, hey, based off of the insight that you all are providing to your partners, to your clients, and I'm an admissions counselor, I get sort of one of these, I wake up in the morning, go into my inbox, I've got a list of the folks that I should be reaching out to today. And I send, let's say, 60 outbound texts, and 10 people, actually respond and reply. And that's an example of a small win. And you guys can go about sort of estimating what that win might, what it's going to take, quite frankly, to get some sense, even a small win, so that I'm encouraged going into the second half of my day or going into tomorrow, based off of the fact that I got 10 people or whatever it is, right, to actually 6 people to actually respond to my text. Is that sort of what you mean by like these small wins, or what's a better example?
So our goal is to make incremental improvements, right? So if I can sit down and I can prospect 60 students as opposed to 100 students, but those 60 students are very targeted, right? One, I created efficiency, so I can actually either fill my day with highly engaged targets, or I can work on those 60 and then I can move on to something else, whereas I've created an efficiency for that week. But those wins come in the form of maybe I make 60 text messages and I get 10 replies, whereas before I might have done 100 and got 6 replies, right? So it's incremental wins or efficiencies, or just incremental things that make the overall process in the course of a whole year, when you're prospecting students to bring them in for that next class. There's a lot that goes on in that time frame, right? So if I can get a small win here this week, I can get a small win the next week, that makes for huge wins, not only for yourself, professionally as a counselor or director, but also for the institution, where they're meeting the policies that they've set forth of what kind of class they want, as well as the number of students they're bringing in, so that they can meet the bottom line and have a successful recruiting class.